a martial arts movie podcast.
I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Featuring drunken Thai boxer, Will.
Too bad you will die.
The also drunken wrestler, Mark.
I said I don't want trouble.
And drunken karate master, Zera.
You've lost your balls.
And now,
Talk. I know Kung Fu. You know, baby.
Fists of Fail.
Okay, so maybe we could just get it out of the way. Everyone knows about the whole distribution issue with this movie. I think I talked about this in previous Jackie episodes about why this movie is called Operation Condor whereas like in some areas Armour of God was Operation Condor 2 because it's stupid how these movies were distributed to the US in later days, but
well, it's because of the popularity.
Yeah, but Armour of God,
Rumble in the Bronx came out, and then Super Cop and Jackie Chan's popularity exploded, so they released Armour of God 2, which is Operation Condor, which is this movie.
Yep.
And then later they released Armour of God 1 and then decided to call that part 2. So, it's just a naming mishap.
Right. For me, for the longest time, that was the most interesting thing about these movies was this whole like distribution kind of like befuddling, I guess. Mm-hmm. I found that very interesting for whatever reason because because when I watched I watched these in sequence because I was able to get the Chinatown bootlegs and watch them that way in correct order. So when people were confused, I was like, I don't understand what you guys are talking about. So I can see how that'd be confusing for most people because going and watching these movies almost back to back at this point because I feel like we covered the original Armour of God like a couple weeks ago, huh?
Yeah.
Or whenever this this episode is coming out, and watching them feeling like back to back, it definitely feels like it should fit in that order. Operation Condor, the movie we're talking about today, it definitely obviously ties it. It is a sequel to the original, obviously, right? But it not only in terms of like feel and stuff, but I think as an overall movie, it is much better constructed, right? It's a better constructed film.
I agree with you in that aspect because I like this movie as a whole better than the original. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm making sure that we're saying as a construction of a movie, that's the qualifier I'm using. Is it a better movie? In terms of an action, in terms of me being an action head, that's where it gets a little bit more confusing. I have more opinions there.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, they're two different movies. Mm-hmm. Both had some mishaps with the production because in the first one, Jackie Chan famously got very, very hurt, which had to stop production. And in this movie, I'm not sure if it's had to stop production at all, but I recall it was like in production for like 18 months, which is a really, really, really long time. And it was also the most expensive Hong Kong movie made up until that point. So there's stuff going on with this series. We wouldn't see the return of the character until later in the 2000s, I believe, somewhere with Chinese Zodiac, which a lot of people don't recall. That's technically part 3 because they didn't use Armour of God in the title anymore. But hey, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Operation Condor. So I have an interesting upbringing with this movie, and maybe it's not interesting, but my personal feelings with this movie are this is one of those comfort Jackie Chan films for me because it was also one of the earliest ones I saw. I mentioned earlier Rumble in the Bronx came out, and for an American, that was my first introduction to Jackie Chan. He kind of exploded. They released Super Cop, and then they released, I believe that's the order. It was Rumble in the Bronx, Super Cop, Operation Condor. And I remember renting this from a video store, a VHS video store where you could rent movies instead of watching them on streaming them or purchasing through VOD with a good friend of mine in grade school. And we loved this movie. This was a really great action comedy for me. And I want to stress that this is probably one of the few Jackie Chan movies where I really like the comedy of it.
Oh, okay. I'm
I'm
very curious how to unpack that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's because when I saw it as the dub. I saw the dub first because that's all we had access to. Same with Rumble in the Bronx and even Police Story 3. I saw the dub, and something about the comedy still works. And when I went back and I watched the original Cantonese, it was still funny. Like both instances were still funny. So I think that just is a testament to Jackie Chan's comedy direction. And even if the delivery of maybe some of those lines is still like, dub when you dub over comedy, like, you lose some of the efficiency of it. It still worked for me. And I still found it funny, and I still found all the scenarios and a lot of the visual gags really entertaining. Even watching it a second time tonight, there was gags I knew that were coming that I really, really laughed hard at. And when they happened again, I was like, wow, that still is funny. Like, I'm still finding this funny. I don't know if it's nostalgia. I don't know
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
just that's my personal taste with comedy, but it was good. It was a good feeling that these comedic moments could still hit, even after
Mm.
all these years, even after a second viewing.
Interesting. Very interesting. I'm curious. So when you say it's like the one of the few Jackie movies that like really make you laugh, I think that's what you said, right?
Yeah, because
Um.
like when we're watching these Cantonese movies, I'm losing some of the subtleties of the
I
humor
see.
because it's
Hmm.
in another language, and
Yeah.
the translation of the subtitles isn't, it's not doing any favors with some of these jokes.
Sure, sure. No, I can definitely see that now that you said it that way. Because like I was watching this, I've only ever watched this in its original Chinese audio, so I've never seen this movie a single time with any sort of like English dubbing over it. So, but I can imagine how, based off the dialogue that I've been listening to from this movie, how like none of it could possibly be, or very little of it could be very lost in translation. It feels very straightforward. I
Yeah.
think that has a lot to do with the fact that we have a lot of characters or actresses who come from all different walks of life, right? We have a I don't really know what she is. Oh, well, we have a Chinese female actress. We have a Japanese female actress, and then we have is she Spanish?
Spanish, yeah.
Spanish female actress. So like having those three, like I guess it kind of like makes it so that it's not just like only specifically Chinese culture jokes in there.
Right.
So I think that's why it probably resonates a little bit easier for everybody, right?
Hmm. And one of the interesting things about this, which a lot of Hong Kong fans tend to not like, is when this got picked up for US distribution, obviously they edited it to streamline it more. I think they cut out like 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes of it. But interestingly enough, they did a new dub with Jackie Chan doing his
Yep.
own dub. And
Yep.
that's the dub I grew up with.
Mm.
I didn't get to rewatch that dub for this recording. I like in the new uh, Blu-ray release, it is the first dub that I think went to like for UK markets or
Mm.
something like that.
Mhm.
So it was just like kind of those like generic uh, English-esque voices in there. But I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
but I still found the comedy funny. So again, I think that's just a testament to how he's setting up these jokes. But I remember still liking I remember still liking the dub because I knew what Jackie Chan sounded like already at that point. And
Yeah.
even though I knew it wasn't him really speaking English, like just hearing him speak in the dub was really nice.
It's funny you say that because yeah, like I knew that Jackie always did the US dub, the American dub. But then and if you're looking for like quote unquote authenticity, I was like, I guess you should watch that version because even in the original Hong Kong dub, it's not dubbed by Jackie. So theoretically, you should be watching the American dub, shouldn't no, or the Western dub.
Controversial.
Controversial, but at least it's Jackie.
Yeah.
But all right, I don't really have too much of history of this movie. I think I saw it like once or twice in the past. So there's that. It was okay. I think for me, the Armor of God series has never really resonated with me. I think they're just kind of like I don't want to obviously just say like, oh, they're just Indiana Jones ripoffs, and they're not. They they take inspiration from them and they try to do their own thing. But I don't know. I guess I mean there's also a controversial thing. I was never an Indiana Jones fan either. So like this whole adventure serial kind of format just never really did anything for me as a movie, right, experience, right? Um, so like the setups were never really too interesting. So like I was just kind of
I mean,
I'm only in it for
the,
these
the
for
setups
like
are
the
really simple too, right?
yeah,
They're
yeah,
there to
exactly.
get our characters into comedic moments, into action moments,
Yeah.
into fuddling around in various locations because it's a globe-trotting
Yeah.
sort of tale,
Yeah.
and it's a very simple plot line because
Mhm.
it's also a treasure hunting movie
It's a
technically
treasure hunting
because
movie,
they
yeah. Mhm.
literally have a map and they
Mhm.
also have a key and they're trying to find buried Nazi gold in the desert. So it's like they're
Yes.
literally hunting the treasure. Like you can't get more straightforward than that.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the closest it gets to Indiana Jones in that regard, right? As close to Raiders of the Lost Ark as you can get, especially when there's like Nazi involvement in the storyline. So I guess we can get that out of the way really quickly. The story. Jackie this time around is going he's now in the Sahara and he's on the lookout for what is it? Like oh no. He is tasked by like an old acquaintance. I know I think it's the same father character from the first movie,
It
right?
is, yeah. That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he reprises his role, but the daughter is no longer
Daughter's not
there.
here. Yeah, what foreigner? Whatever. So yes, he's tasked with going to find this like buried treasure. Essentially, essentially what it is, right? Like find treasure in the desert, right? Am I?
Yeah, it's the Nazis were known for pillaging and they stole a bunch of gold and
Mm-hmm.
they literally buried it in a desert and
Yeah,
the United Nations wants it back.
yeah, yeah.
That's it.
That's basically it. We have a couple of female leads who kind of work their way into the movie, like the three that I mentioned before, and whether they want it for themselves or they want it for to bring it back to the UN, yeah, whatever. That's all just kind of par for the course. And just and then like along the way, it just makes it seem like every woman is just fawning over Jackie, and that's kind of where a lot of the comedy comes in,
I don't
right?
know if I would say they're fawning over him. It's more like I feel like they're more annoyed with him, but he kind of
Really?
yeah. At least
Okay.
that's what
Huh.
I kind of got.
Okay.
I never thought they were really interested in him. Like they were. It almost felt like they were all just reluctantly there, and they
Hmm.
were just stuck together in the situation. But there
Hmm.
was comedic, quote unquote, romantic moments because of the comedic like beats they put in there to make it like that.
Okay. Sure, gotcha. Okay, I guess I could see that. Well, I don't know. I always saw it as like yes, they obviously all want the map, right? Or they all want to be able to get to the gold, including some comedic relief, villains and the real villains and what have you. There's a lot of people who just all in there for the gold, right? Including the women. So they are whether it looks like they're really all over Jackie because they want him or they want the gold. It's like that's where a lot of like this whole
Well, you
where
have
a lot of the
so
comedy
you
comes
have
in.
Carol Chang. She plays like the assistant to the person who gives Jackie Chan the mission for the United Nations. So she's actually like she's technically kind of like the leader of the mission. So that's why
Yep.
she's there. She wants the gold because she's doing it for her job,
Hmm.
essentially. Then you have Ava Cobo de Garcia.
Hmm.
She is the daughter or the granddaughter of the Nazi who buried the gold
Yes.
with his team, and she's trying to clear her grandfather's name because she believes that he didn't do it like for nefarious reasons, even though he was a Nazi. And yeah, sure, why not try to clear a
Sure. Why
Nazi's
not?
name? Yeah, this is fictional, but then we have like this weird straggler of a
Yeah.
character who doesn't really need to be there,
Yeah.
played by
Hmm.
Shoko Ikeda.
Hmm.
She's like a just a desert traveler they run into. She
Right.
just kind of tags along and is kind of like this fourth wheel that helps out every now and then, and she disappears every now and then. And
Right.
she doesn't really,
When you
I don't know, she
say
doesn't really do much.
disappears,
Yeah.
when you say it disappears, she really does disappear.
Mhm.
It's like almost like she wasn't needed in this at all. Would it have worked better if it was just two? It was not trying, not like a love triangle, or whatever. But like, it's not really that. It's would it work better if it was just the two female characters? Probably not. I mean, it is funny to think like there's three women who are like quote unquote fawning quote unquote over Jackie. I think that does work better, but she's definitely the least developed one, like
Yeah.
in terms of her motivations and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just there, and sometimes she just disappears, like you said.
Yeah, when the
Like,
story
why is she not
doesn't
in the
need
scene?
her, they literally write her out. And
Yeah,
then when they need her again, they're like, "Nope, you're coming back." And she's like, "But I was
yeah,
just leaving."
yeah. It's very straightforward. This movie, a lot of there's some hurdles that the characters face here and there. Movie takes place primarily in the desert. Um,
or
yeah, mostly
or a Hong Kong set.
in Hong Kong, in a Hong Kong set. Yeah, I saw that. It's primarily for that one scene, right? Where that like that hotel. What do you call a hotel?
Yeah,
It's
it's a
like
Moroccan hotel. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a Hong Kong set.
yeah. That's impressive.
Mhm.
I will say it's a very impressive set. I tried not to pick holes in it too much. I'm like, wow, looks really nice. I cannot believe they wheeled in real Saharan sand to this set. That is crazy.
I wouldn't have never even known or noticed. I don't even think I looked at sand anywhere in the scene.
That is nuts to me though. But yeah, there's that kind of leads us into kind of loosely the action of the movie I want to talk about.
Mhm.
Because this isn't a movie I think think a lot about when I think action. I think this is where it's kind of a step down from the first movie, which is weird because I didn't think the first movie was so great in the action department anyways, right? It's
Yeah,
not super memorable.
there's like asterisks with what you're saying there for me
Yeah.
anyway. So the first movie has the better and more memorable fight scenes, even though that movie is very sparse with its fight
Yes.
scenes. Like the finale when he fights the Amazon, the large like
Hmm.
women in the cave. That's a very definitively good Jackie Chan fight scene. But then, but for that movie, that's kind of it. Like thinking
Yep.
about it now, even
That
though
is
we
true.
recently just watched it, I can't really remember the other fight scenes off the top of my head.
Yep.
This movie, there's a lot of fights kind of sprinkled throughout, and it feels more like a general action movie and a
Hmm.
little less of a martial arts film at times. There
Yes.
are two major fight scenes, I guess you can say, that happen towards the end. And then
Hmm.
everything before that is kind of like uh, martial arts moments, like interwoven into comedy sections.
Hmm. Yes, yes, that is true. Yeah, especially since the female leads are given a lot of screen time,
Mhm.
right? They will cut back and forth between Jackie and what they're doing. So I mean, I guess as like action comedy, that works better. That can work better. Because in this regard, there are some things that Operation Condor, this movie specifically, does do really well. They're not standout moments where it's like, wow, that's a defining moment. But I did really appreciate them. So most of them involve like Jackie being doubled by someone else. Specifically, this one car stunt with the gymnast.
Mhm.
Like what a third of the way into the movie. Uh, that's a crazy one. I definitely want to save that for when we talk about that in the Patreon section. But like, that's just one of the craziest stunts I've seen. But like, once it happens, like, and I'm done. I'm done like gasping over it. Like, I kind of already forget that ever happened. And then, but I will say, this movie, if there's anything that really sticks out in my head that I think is most memorable, it definitely has to do with one of the for me, it's probably up there as one of Jackie's most dangerous stunts I've ever seen him do, and it makes my skin crawl every time I see it. It's towards the end of the movie, and it looks like Jackie's about to snap his neck in half or get his head ripped off.
When they're
That
fighting like on the like kind of like seesawing generator
yeah,
platforms, I guess you can
yeah,
say. Yeah, no, that's an insane stunt. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we
It
can go into detail on that later, but that is a pretty insane stunt.
Yeah, that's my That's my defining. That's like the one of the most defining memories I have of this movie, or the things that really like every time I've watched it. I remember the first time I watched that. That I literally stopped and had to like walk into the other room. Like holy shit, that was. It almost felt like I was gonna watch a snuff film, right? Because it was like it's just that's the kind of I watched it when I was young, right?
Yeah.
So like I remember seeing that and I was just felt really uncomfortable because like most stuntmen they're very talented and they know what they're capable of, but then they're in that regard like there's no way you can fake that. There's no way you can like there's no plan B. You miss that, you're going to rip your head off.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
almost wish that they could have elaborated on that. Like, was there movie magic behind making that stunt happen? Because, keeping Jackie safe, right? Because that is a
Yeah.
dangerous stunt. But
Mhm.
no, I don't think anybody has ever really
Yeah.
elaborated on it because I'm guessing he just does this pretty dangerous stunt.
Yeah. It's if anything, I'll give this movie that. It's like it's the one stunt that Jackie did that makes my skin crawl. So like that's why my history with this movie. But yeah, overall, it's just okay. I think it's I'm not talking about the movie as a as a whole. I think as an action movie, it's just all right. I think it's even less well defined than the first movie because nothing really sticks out or that stays with me for very long.
So after rewatching this, because I had a very kind of clear indication of this movie in my head because I watched it so many times when I was younger, and when I was going into it, I knew what action moments kind of stood out for me. So basically everything you were saying, like those two
Mhm.
stunts are really insane. It was never the fight scenes that stood out to me,
Yeah.
although I think um the underground army base fight is fun. Like I couldn't recall like specifics of it besides like
Yeah.
maybe the NGs at the end because those are really
Mhm.
bad. But
Yeah.
upon rewatching this, I
Mhm.
realized I really like his integration of action into the the comedy bits where we're moving the story along. And it
Okay.
kind of made me think of, I think it's Project A2,
Mhm.
where the multiple characters are stuck in a house, right? And they're all trying to escape, and things are just constantly escalating and escalating. And it's getting funnier because like they're all trapped in this house and they're trying to escape, but more people keep on coming in. And I think what Jackie Chan does here is where in Project A2, that felt superfluous. Like I don't
Mhm.
know, like I feel like we could have edited out that whole house scene. Here, he makes a action slash comedy moment out of um out of like a scene where we finally meet uh, a few of the antagonists of the movie, and they confront them, and they're trying to escape, and it's just a series of escalating events, and things keep on getting one up, then they keep on going crazier and crazier. Then they move out of one portion of the set into another, and it's this really really great moment that yes, there's not really memorable choreography from that, but I think the setup of them fighting each other and they're trying to get the key, I believe at that moment, and maybe they're trying to kill him, but they're just going around from different places, and the girls are like trying to help out, they're trying to get out of it. It just keeps on escalating
Yep.
into finally somebody gets a machine gun and just like shoots up the place. Like I didn't realize how well that scene was directed until like now that I have more like movie knowledge and
Sure.
cinematic knowledge uh,
Mhm.
behind me, I realize like that is so nicely done. Like I really really like that scene, even though the action isn't like memorable. I think it's just a really well directed scene.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not disagreeing there at all. I do think that as a overall action movie, right? It's mean like especially like nowadays when you think about movies of that kind of keep your engagement and how modern movies blend in comedy. Like if it's, I guess like specifically traditional or your typical moviegoer when they go watch an action movie now, it's like they probably will lose focus after if it's just nonstop action. Like having interwoven a comedy in there kind of like keeps the rhythm, like it gives it a nice cadence, right? So this is an example where it's like it's kind of like that. If you are that kind of person who wants like relentless action, if you want that, uh, relentless action is not what this movie will give you. Uh, but it's like I think it's a little bit more palatable for most people, right?
Hmm.
By the way, you did mention before about like this, it's well directed and such. Speaking of which, it would be remiss for me to say this is another Jackie Chan directed movie.
Hmm.
This is not intentional, by the way. Like we're not specifically looking for Jackie Chan directed movies. I think it's clearly like we've been doing them back to back to back.
It just kind
But
of
like
turns out that, oh, he
yeah,
also wrote and directed this one. So, but I think that
yeah,
that's really helpful for us because we're kind of seeing the
mhm,
evolution of his style,
yes,
because we kind
that's
of
what I was
did
saying.
start
Yeah,
older, and then we're going into, now we're technically into his first 90s movie,
yeah,
technically,
hmm hmm
and people cite that this is, we're starting to get like at that height of
right,
that like Hong Kong action movie uh timeline, where it's
hmm
like it's starting to rise before its eventual downfall.
yeah, right. No, that is very true. I mean, a couple years later, Drunken Master 2 was made. I mean, I'm always gonna regard that as like one of the highest peaks of Jackie's career, or at least his physical, maybe not physical, um, but whatever. Like the culmination of his work is like best in that. Here, it's like as an action movie head, I don't think about this movie at all. Like at all. Like I don't want to be completely negative. I think as an overall movie, it's fine, it's entertaining, but I think as an action movie, it has its moments. And I'd love to talk about it a little bit more if we decide to talk about this in the Patreon section, right, Zero?
Yeah, I mean, we will talk about it in the Patreon section. So, if you want to hear us go into more detail about the various action scenes and choreographed fight moments scattered throughout this movie, because there are a lot, you should consider subscribing to us on Patreon, because there you can get the whole discussion. Probably an hour. We generally go an extra hour. So, if you would like to hear that, consider subscribing.
Yeah. Okay. I think that enough said. We'll just talk about Operation Condor. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. We're at the point where we give our recommendations, but there's a whole wealth of audio you would be listening to here if you follow us on Patreon. There you can listen to the entire episode, including an exclusive action breakdown of the fights in the movie. And now on to our final thoughts. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, that's Operation Condor.
Hey, we did it.
Yeah, we did it. It's oh man, I don't want to continue this whole like it's all right train of thought. I feel like the last couple episodes we've just been like, or I've been like, oh, it's all right, it's all right. I didn't like this one. Well, oh wait, I was good. To be fair, I don't think I disliked any of the movies this year so far. It's just like
Well, we covered a lot of the major Jackie Chan films,
yes,
earlier
correct.
in our
In previous
podcasting
episodes.
career and in previous episodes. So this is us dedicating a whole year to him.
hmm
And well, what do we have left, right? It's
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah,
the thing. It's maybe not the top tier, but they are still
yeah,
pretty good movies. There are still good things to extrapolate from it. I
yeah.
I really like this movie, but I don't think it's one of Jackie Chan's best movies. But I do like the movie as a whole.
Yeah, I do think it's entertaining. It's not what I think of when I think Jackie Chan at his best. He's not. I don't think he's best bringing his best action A game. I think as a comedy, it's fine. I will say it's not. It's not my kind of comedy, right? Like I think it's funny, but it's. I'm not laughing a mile a minute. Like for whatever reason, I I think the movie is just fine as a comedy. Um, but the action is where it's a little bit more disappointing than I remembered it being. I don't think I've ever really loved the action in this. So going back and revisiting it with my more eagle-eyed eyes, I thought I'd be able to appreciate it a little bit more, but like, no, it's kind of spread thin a lot of the times. Everything we just said before about it being like, here's a little sprinkling of action here and there, not a lot of really fantastic choreography. But then again, that's probably not the intention here. It is more focused on the comedy and just being an overall entertaining flick. So I can't take that away from the movie. So I'm gonna try to be a little bit more positive here. But yeah, I will. How about I end my obvious recommendation for this, regardless, because I have to recommend this if you've never seen this movie. I'll end this with, holy shit, you have to watch it just for that one stunt with the seesaws, because it is still jaw dropping to me after all these years. Every time I see it, I cannot believe that he did that. It is still, in my opinion, Jackie's most crazy stunt he's ever done.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, like, oh yeah, it's so it's not that subtle, but it's so understated, right? Like Jackie falling down the side of a building, in like Who Am I, or him jumping and almost killing himself in the first Armour of God, or like him falling backwards into a pit of coals in Drunken Master 2. Like, none of that compares to him almost getting decapitated. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
there's
that
not
is pretty intense.
Yeah, it's very intense. Yeah. So there's something visually like unnerving about it, but it makes for a really good, a very memorable moment. Like, if anything this movie has, it's for that. No, I mean, obviously I'm gonna recommend it regardless, but it's not the highest recommend for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, this this to me feels like a great introduction movie for people who want to like know what Jackie Chan is all about. Like, because maybe there's some people who are like, oh, I don't want to just watch a martial arts movie where it's just people fighting nonstop, right?
Sure.
Because there's a clear distinction between a martial arts movie and an action movie, right? I
Sure.
feel like a lot
That's
of
true.
American movies are more action, but they have like martial arts fight scenes in them. This kind of feels like that in a sense, even though it is, it is Jackie Chan. And I would say that like if you have somebody who's like kind of curious about Jackie Chan and action comedy, this is like a good place to start because it's not so heavy with the fighting where it might turn somebody away who doesn't like those types of movies. Like it's sprinkled throughout, and then there's a lot of comedy, so like you can get into the characters, you can kind of see where Jackie Chan is going with the action and comedy direction. And then at the end, that's where there's like a little more action, obviously, because the stakes are highest, and so it's expected to be there. So
Sure.
this is I like this movie a lot, but as I said earlier, it's not like I don't think it's the best Jackie Chan movie, but I just like the movie as a whole, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have somebody in your life who's new to Jackie Chan, you want to get into it, I feel like this is a good start. And then I mentioned it in the other episode, but I think like Rumble in the Bronx is like a good start too.
Okay. No, that's a really good assessment there. Yeah, to have these starter pack Jackie Chan movies for anyone who wants to dive into them like gradually rather than just jumping head first.
Yeah, like I would
that's
never
really
want
good,
to show somebody like Fearless Hyena, for example. Like that's just it's like too much choreography, right?
Yeah.
Like it'll just like overwhelm somebody. So like if you want to dip somebody's toes into what action comedy is in the style of Jackie Chan directing it, like I feel like this is a great place to start.
Sure. No, I like that. All right. So, and you know what needs to happen? Like, as a starter pack, you need to show this movie, but like you hard cut at the seesaw moment where like as soon as Jackie's about to get his head decapitated, you just hard cut and credits roll. There you go. That's how you end the
I
movie.
think that would be very, very dark for some people.